from. It doesn't necessarily indicate a major need to do a cutting off point, but definitely this is what's running through your mind. It's a lot of fears tied around, will something work? Are you looking at things the right way? Is this cup actually what it is that you want?
Hello, Capricorn. My name is Kristen Simone Hansen, and welcome to SeaGoat Secrets. Hi again. In this video, you are going to get a full rundown of the Aries new moon and the solar eclipse and everything in terms of transits going on with that day in specific, and how it affects you and your Capricorn placements. If at any point in this video you feel connected to me and you would like to become a member of my client circle, you can find that link here and also in the bio. I welcome you. And to follow along in the future, you can find these personalized calendars made specifically by me for the SeaGoat Collective. And yeah, you can use them to get a full rundown of the year and all the monthly transits and how they affect you. And you guys know that I am a global citizen and I love connecting with all of you on a worldly and global level. So if you have not already, let me know where you're listening from and we can all connect on a worldly and global level. So now with all that being said, let's get into this. Okay, Capricorn, I'm sorry for the way that I look, but I'm like running around chores, errands, grocery, but I'm here. And I want to get into this powerful energy happening for the 8th. And the reason why I'm saying powerful energy and not just a new moon is because on this day in specific, the amount of alignments we have with this day is so intense. Not only is it 8 during the 8th year, okay? So powerful 8th year, which is big for you, obviously, because the 8th year is a Capricorn year. You can find that link here. But the 8 obviously representing karma, representing infinity, what goes around comes around. And then we have that again as the year's theme in a cardinal energy. And here we are in a cardinal season having this pivotal day happen on the day of 8. What goes around comes back around. It's extremely karmic because eclipses are also karmic. This is beautiful. It's a very sacred, sacred day. It's a sacred, sacred time, especially for you and other cardinal signs in general, because cardinal signs are the ones who've been hammered by the Capricorn-Pluto transit because it was cardinal. But obviously you guys are the ones who have had it the most specific. And a lot of your wounds, especially as Chiron entered Aries in 2019, has been more pressurized onto you than pretty much almost everyone else. Whereas Aries was kind of getting a little bit, for those of you who have Aries placements, I'm going to talk about that. Aries had it a little hard as well because when that transit happened, because Pluto was still in a cardinal sign, Aries was kind of getting a little bit of what you guys were getting in terms of that Plutonian transformation because Chiron is in its energy. So you guys are a little bit neck and neck in a way. Obviously, no one had it as hard as Capricorn did during the Pluto transit, but still Aries definitely felt the pressure. So for those of you who have Aries placements, and I'm talking about Aries Chiron, Aries rising, Aries sun, Aries moon, Aries midheavens, this is a really big time for you, especially in alignment with your Capricorn placements, because it's all cardinal push, all cardinal karma, and all new beginnings, leadership energy, getting in the driver's seat of your life and creating this shift. So it's very, very great. Like the pressure getting lifted off of you and major turnarounds happening. So pretty powerful stuff. But let's get back into the day in itself. So like I said, we have the 8. Also, we're looking at the fact that Aries is in Venus. Aries is also Mercury, is also retrograde in Mercury right now. Aries is in the sun, and Aries is also in the moon, and Aries is in Chiron. So it's a lot of Aries. It's a lot of fire, a lot of me first energy, the warrior, the empowerer. So it's exciting again. Now, let's start when it comes to you guys and what this energy means for you in specific. I'll do a little bit of a reflections of the last moon, so to reflect a little bit on what happened with the Libra transit. The Libra transit, the Libra eclipse, full moon eclipse had you closing doors, ending cycles, big completions. It wasn't too eerie for you guys. I know some of you guys were really, really worried that it was going to hit you as heavy as the Leo full moon that happened in January, but it didn't. It just, you know, step by step closing the doors. For many of you guys, it was subconscious, and for others of you guys, you're empowered in closing the doors. That's a part of the reason why it wasn't as traumatic or as eerie as you were expecting, because you're actually in the driver's seat this time around, and that's what feels really good. So yeah, those doors were closing. You've been going through a lot of healing, restoration, because you ended up closing cycles. Here, as you started to walk into the Aries new moon energy, you're starting to see things a little bit differently, starting to see people differently after you've closed the door on them, which is quite interesting. But that's what was happening with that eclipse. Change in identity. You were putting to bed the old you and putting in the energy and planting the seeds toward the new you. And that's a big thing that's happening with this energy on the 8th. So for you, this is big when it comes to fourth house activation. And we've been talking about the fourth house, we've been talking about the idea of home, but it's not just, the fourth house is not just about home, especially when you want to talk about Aries energy. And that's why Capricorns are specific in the way you guys navigate your home and family dynamics, and sometimes why people can say you can neglect your home for your purpose or your career, right? But for where you're sitting, you can chase a dream and then give back and provide where it is that you are. And that's an example of your fourth house energy in motion, because there is an attachment that you have to needing a grounded space, and you pioneer your grounded space. You like to be a leader in that space. So that's a big factor when it comes to what's going on. On a very deep level, most of you guys are changing, again, like I've mentioned, what home means to you within your own body. So the fourth house is about your personal identity, your personal self, where the spaces of you that no one can see, what sits inside of you. You know, when you think of the fourth house, you think of Cancer, the crab, right? What's inside of the crab and what's sitting inside of its shell. So these are the things that go on with you during this time. So it's a big renewal in this personal energy. You want to feel fresh when it comes to your internal workings. And a part of the reason why is because you have to go through a lot of healing, you've gone through a lot of transformation, and you do not want to feel as traumatic as you did in the past during your healing process or during your change process. And so you really want to, when those doors are closed, you want your home space. Now we're going to talk about the other parts of it, but in the bare bones of it, you want your personal life to feel as comfortable as possible. The old you would compromise what home in the body felt like, to keep the I don't know, the peace somewhere else, or to compromise yourself to over nurture in other ways. And this me first Aries attitude is telling you that you need to prioritize yourself. So this is where you're seeing big changes in how you deal with your relationships and other people. You're saying to yourself, I will not have anybody in my close corners that I do not want. I will not entertain conversations that I no longer want to. I will amplify who works for me. So we're looking at it like, you know, in a negative sense, where it's like, okay, get rid of all of these people and cut all these people off. But it's not necessarily just that. It's also amplifying the ones that do serve, and loving deeper the ones that love you deeper. And you're wanting to nurture those energies, but you're nurturing like a warrior in the kitchen, right? It's like, I'm going to put all my energy into what works, right? So if you guys are looking for, again, there's a big renewal in love that's happening as well. So it could be really putting all of your momentum into making a relationship work that maybe in the past you weren't that committed to. Or again, you could not see because you were still going through your karmic cycles, but then as the Libra eclipse came and found you, you finally were able to put to bed. You were able to put to bed a lot of the wounds of the past, especially tied to 10th house, especially tied to Libra energy, partnerships, connections. And now you're getting this fresh view of who serves you. So it could be a renewal of an old relationship, a reconcile of an old relationship, or it can be putting on new eyes, fresh eyes when it comes to the environment that you're actually living in or the person that you're next to. So it could be a renewal in seeing your partner in a new light, or just a fresh momentum to actually go out and get what it is that you want out of love, because you really want to feel comfortable in your close corners. You're idealizing this idea of I guess I would call it like the earth fantasy, right? Which is, being able to sit at home with someone and just feel completely at peace in that energy. Someone that makes you feel like there is longevity, like there is a constant return on your investment. But again, you're restoring your idea of what home means to you because you've broken down what it didn't mean. So it's this 50-50. You're not dealing with as much anger as you initially did in the end of March, we're still in the early April, but you're not dealing with as much anger as you maybe have expected. There isn't as much confrontation as you expected. Things are working more seamlessly than you originally anticipated. And it's causing you a little confusion because things that you once thought were very difficult. I talked about this in the monthly email. Things that you originally thought were a little bit difficult or going to be much more difficult are actually very easy. There's a lot of serendipity and things are falling into your lap. If doors have to close, they're closing softly. If doors are opening, they're opening softly, which is very nice. And it's all about the way that you're restoring the balance within yourself, because this imbalance that you felt in your fourth house matters is ending. You're getting a renewal in it. So it's no longer dealing with instability. A lot of you have been able to rid yourselves of anxiety. And why? Because anxiety starts with an instability in the root. And what is the root chakra? What is keeping you grounded? A lot of the time when we think of the fourth house, we don't associate it with the root chakra. But to feel at home in the body is associated with the root. The opposite of Cancer is Capricorn. To be grounded, to have your feet pressed into the earth and to feel unshaken and unmoved, because internally you have a strong sense of self, which is usually where we talk about the mother energy, the maternal energy. What makes you feel nurtured is a part of what makes you feel grounded in yourself. So it's all of this perspective of this healed idea tied to who it is that you are. A lot of you guys are looking at yourselves culturally as well, revisiting childhood memories. I was going through a memory this morning myself of when I was a little girl and, sitting up with my father in the backyard, and I was drinking coconuts because I was trying to finish all the mangoes, because it's a long story, but my sister and I picked all these mangoes and we needed to finish them. And of course, my dad knew that I would be the one to finish them. So, because I ate a lot as a kid. So, that memory, that's kind of an example of what I mean. So you're running through these memories, and some of them could be positive, some of them are negative. Some of them are when you're thinking about what hurt you or who hurt you. But either way, these memories, you're using them to refine your current life. So how can you recreate that feeling of comfort, of freedom, of peace within your permanent quarters right now? Where do you want to live? Where do you want to move? How do you want your neighborhood to respond to you? For those of you who are living where it is that you're happy to be, you're getting a fresh eye, or you're getting a fresh set of eyes when it comes to where it is that you are. So it's almost like seeing things in a way that you didn't before, like spring, maybe you made your move a couple of months ago or something like that, and it's felt like you kind of had to grind your way through the transits, and now things are lightening up, so you can kind of smell the roses and see a small farmer's market that maybe you didn't see before, or getting to know people around you more. You're feeling more social and you really want to open up and connect, to whereas you've been closed during the end of your healing process for a while. You're starting to really want to connect with people, which just brings me back to what I was saying about the renewal and love, because it's not just love romantically, but love with everyone around you, because it's a renewal of love that you have within yourself, because you've nurtured yourself. Fourth house energy, the mother energy, has been restored within you. So those are some of the things that are going on. Definitely, like I said, a focus on who it is that you really are. So again, when we talk about the past, it's not just about past memories, but also your cultural identity, which I think I mentioned. So looking at your makeup, your cultural makeup, your genetic makeup, feeling how you want to really amplify, even on a more shallow level. Like, you guys can find yourselves wanting to look more natural or look more authentic to who you feel like you are. So it could go against your initial beginnings, or it can move toward them. Either way, you want to feel like you are as comfortable in your own skin. So it's a renewal in a sense of kind of a rebellion, because you have a me first attitude in the spaces that really you shouldn't, right? Because fourth house matters are all about other people. You know, they're about family, they're about marriages, even business partners, like close business partners. And here you are in all of these spaces having a me first attitude. You know, how can I make myself feel the most at peace? How can I put myself in the center? How do I want to show up in the world? How do I want to look? So these are the things that are running through your mind. Obviously, you can upset some people, but who cares? You know, that's the glory of Aries energy. It's giving you all that fire to fight in spaces that you normally shouldn't. Again, shouldn't, right? If it doesn't serve you, you're not doing it. If the family member no longer works, you're cutting the cord. If you want to restore the relationship, you're putting in the warrior, I guess, you're putting on your warrior armor and saying, okay, I'm ready to restore a relationship that was once broken. That can be in family, that can be in love, that can be in friendship, but you know who it is that you want to have around you, and you're willing to put in the energy and the action in order to make those relationships work. Another big thing, as well as you're going through your independence and individualization, it's interesting because you're getting renewals in relationships all the while having a me first individual outlook. And this might seem a little confusing to you, like almost like you're trying to balance, okay, me time versus everyone else's time. How do I want to experience these relationships? I thought I didn't want this person, or I thought I didn't want to connect with these friends anymore. But at the same time, as you restore within yourself and you're healing within yourself, you actually want to connect. And it's a little confusing because you're very self-focused and you're all about restoring within the self, like a mother bear, I think is what they call it, for your own self. And it's causing you to want to connect more with the right people. So it can confuse you a little bit because but really it's a beautiful thing, because it's showing you that through self-love, that's the way how you attract good love. And that was a problem that you guys have had in the past, many of you, because of that. You know, the Capricorn energy can be an overgiver, can be an overdoer, an overprotector, all of those things. And a lot of it is because, especially if you were traumatized during the Pluto transit, being broken down, many of you had that sacrificial goat issue where you did not know how to pour into yourself and prioritize yourself. And now you're being put in the driver's seat in terms of knowing how to water yourself first, put your mask on first, give to yourself first, Aries me first attitude. But through this, you're realizing that this is actually what you needed the entire time to have the kind of relationships the way you wanted them to be. That in fact, maybe you don't need to leave that relationship that you were in, or maybe you can renew a relationship with someone you thought not possible, or maybe you don't need to break through these friend groups, and maybe you can restore in these family areas, or revive a business partnership, because you're realizing that, oh, I needed to pour into myself. The more I loved myself, the more it made me lovable. And also, the more it made the relationships work more seamlessly. So that's a part of the interesting kind of back and forth that's playing out. Yeah, you guys are redefining the way in which you work. So again, think of the maternal energy, right? So less fraternal and more maternal in the way that you're approaching yourself, which is good. It's a lot of self-care, a lot of self-nurturing. So you don't want to overwork yourself. You're trying to, you can find yourself recreating your schedule, again, switching work, which we talked about in the monthly video, how it is that you work, where you work, what you'll tolerate at work, who you're working with, different things like that. Many of you are leaving toxic work environments or renewing the way you show up in work environments so that you're more empowered, you have more zest, you have more fire behind you. You won't tolerate things that you used to tolerate before. Many of you can find yourself standing up for yourselves in the workplace as well, using this Aries momentum to stand up for yourself like an angry mother would, you know, for you. Nurturing kind of energy, which is very good. You're in the driver's seat of your renew. So for those of you who work for yourself, you can be changing the way you navigate your business so that you aren't spreading yourself so thin, and you're not so overworked, and you're not so stressed out. So it's all about how to restructure yourself, redefine yourself, and make sure that your work environment is as healthy as possible for you. And this is how you're beginning that. Like I talked about in the career video, there's a lot of stuff going on for career, a lot of ideas that you guys are implementing, a lot of changes that you guys are doing, especially for you entrepreneurs, for you guys who are in the workplace. It's more about you changing how you work and how you show up in work. And for others of you, especially with Cancer placements, you're changing how you make your money in specific, looking at more investing or stocks or different things like that. Renewable energy, it's another one in terms of investments, but yeah, so it's a change in the way you approach these matters, and this is a part of what's panning out for you throughout the month of April. But this eclipse brings about a big shift in that energy. I will not tolerate X. I will now work like Y. I want to see this new, especially for entrepreneurs, I want to create the kind of structure where I can breathe, where I can have more freedom, more flexibility, different things like that. So to wrap up with the deeper side of what's going on, again, it's a lot of internal changing, identity shifting, self-nurturing, self-care, reclaiming who it is that you are, or discarding parts of yourself that you no longer feel serve you, looking at your family relationships, the relationships in your close corners. It could be your marriage, especially for those of you who've been married for a very long time, seeing how these relationships shaped who it is that you are. And it's not all, it's good and bad, you know, there's good things, bad things, but at the end of the day, you're using it to redefine and refine the way you're showing up now in your future. You're deciding what it is that you want now because of what it is that you've had in the past. And it's a lot of, there's a self-actualization that's happening as well from the self-nurturing. So seeing yourself very clearly. Again, the me first attitude has you focusing on how to, pour into yourself first before you pour into others. And people have to deal with it. It's kind of just that they have to deal with it. You're changing. You have changed. And so for those of you who are connected to others who are used to being around you all the time, they have to deal with the change. And deal is a strong word. They have to get to know the new you, the you who loves yourself deeper, the you who can show up stronger. And for many of you, this is actually a good thing, like I said, because it makes it so that you can heal relationships that in the past you may have damaged because of your insecurities or because of the way you couldn't see yourself clearly. You guys are not shy of, you know, not everyone, but a lot of people in the Capricorn community can struggle with self-sabotage, and how a lack of self-security can cause you to kind of strong arm and stiff lip things to a point where people view you as cold, or they can't understand what you're saying, or they can't read you, and it can sabotage your relationships and your connections. So through this great nurturing and this empowered sense of self that you have, this beautiful me first, but in this Cancerian kind of way, energy is really wonderful to watch, especially for those of the people who are connected to you in your close corners. Like I said, your family, your relationships, your children, it's not the third house, but it can also be your neighbors or your neighborhood as well. It's a renewal in that kind of maternal, self-maternal energy. And so I'll wrap up with talking about the more practical side, which is your home. So many of you can be going through like spring cleaning. On a simple term, spring cleaning, great spring cleaning, meaning like you're turning the house upside down. You could be getting rid of things that you've had in there for 15 years. For a very long time, you're taking control of yourself and taking control of your home. You could be finding yourself getting pets. You can find yourself changing out the art, adding art. Again, deep cleaning, wanting to bring someone into your home or kick someone out, wanting to move. You have all the momentum in this area. You guys can also find yourself wanting to change your wardrobe, wanting to change your health in the way that is about nurturing. So it could be wanting to change your diet because it would make you look better, which would then make you feel better, more at home in your body. Wanting to do a better job taking care of your natural features, wanting to change something. So it could be wanting to change your nails or your hair or something like that to, again, feel more at home. Kind of projecting a self-comfort image versus one that is built up with armor, or like a fortress. You kind of want to break down the fortress because you no longer feel the need to protect yourself as much as you once did because of your self-nurturing, which is good. So this is all the power and the momentum you need to go through a great move for you guys who are packing your things and going into other places. For others of you, it could be solidifying your home. So plans that you've had for a while, it could be paperwork, leases, visas, whatever it is that you need, a home-based business, establishing your office, doing a better job, especially for you guys with home-based businesses. This is very big because of the change happening and the way you work, along with the change happening with your home. You can find yourself going through a big change in terms of how you relate your business to the world because you have a home-based business. So changing the scenery, changing, again, the home office, how it shows up, the time that you work, your new schedule, different things like that. So I feel like I'm kind of watering this down and making it sound so simple. But I'll go into it during our live, which can be found. It's the first live that we're doing here on SeaGoat Secrets. I'm pretty sure it's going to be the last, to be honest, because all of the lives I want to just keep in the healing circle. But this is the pre-video so that you guys can see what the healing circle is like and how the videos are going to play out. And this is the Aries Eclipse video that you guys requested. And that is going to air on the same day, so on the 8th. But there I'm going to dive deeper into the more emotional side, the vulnerable side, the intensity of this, all the energy that's going to be moving through you, all the momentum, all the change, all the shift. So less of a grounded approach, because right now I feel like I'm taking a grounded approach for something that's really, really huge. So that's what I have for you, and we're going to get into the reading now. Okay. All right, Capricorn. So a lot came out for this moment, things that kind of threw me off a little bit, not going to lie. So we've got the Hermit here with the Five of Swords and the Three of Cups. The Five of Swords feels very strong here. It feels stronger than both the Hermit and the Three of Cups, and that's just on an emotional level. I know that in terms of major arcana, the Hermit is obviously more pulling, right? But in this case, this Five of Cups is very strong. And it's accompanied here with kisses, photograph, and also at the bottom, came out stabbed in the back. In your shadow, we've got the Eight of Pentacles in reverse, along with the Ace of Cups, Judgment in reverse, and the Three of Pentacles. So the fact that in the shadow we've got the Three of Pentacles and in the subject here we've got the Three of Cups, that's saying a lot to me. Before we go into the healing point, let's ground ourselves here, shall we? So obviously on a practical level, we're looking at a dynamic where you are feeling introspective, but there's a big fight. There is a fight, and it's a strong fight. I don't think it's a surprise that we've got two knives, multiple knives in one case, right? So it's the 6 knives at once. It's a really strong fight. But it doesn't necessarily say or feel, it does feel bloody. I'm not going to say that it doesn't feel bloody. It does. It feels like blood. Blood is drawn. Things are bleeding.
and the Three of Cups along with the Hermit. So relating back to the way it associated with other people, connections, dynamics, the way you're intertwining with others, and how you've been in this introspective space on your own. So here we're looking at with this moon is the differences between what it is that you will fight for versus where it is that you're sitting comfortably in your own space. Are the connections or the desire to connect bringing up this feeling of what is it that I will fight for? Who is going to stab me in the back? Where is the deception? At the bottom here, we've got the photograph, and at the top, we've got this unconditional giving and receiving of love. Well, these are contradictions now, aren't they? And clearly, it's showing a memory. So old pictures, old people, old dynamics resurfacing, and what does it mean to give and take, and you questioning these things in your hermit space. Do you want to connect again? Do you want to open those doors? Because last time you opened them, there was a lot of blood that was drawn. And that's the big feeling that I'm getting here. Blood, drawn, heart. It's all in the heart area. Like that feeling when you have like a nosebleed, like internal kind of bleeding, kind of something that left you with that feeling definitely is resurfacing at this time. And in your shadow, we've got, will this work? This Ace of Cups, will this cup come forward? And we've got, like I was saying, when it comes to these bottom two cards as well, it's the same perspective where, okay, will this work? Will this cup go forward? Where are we exactly? What is the understanding here? How can this progress forward? And will this actually work? So it's a lot of questioning of whether things will actually work or not. What does work? Who does work? And what do you need to disconnect from? It doesn't necessarily indicate a major need to do a cutting off point, but definitely this is what's running through your mind. It's a lot of fears tied around, will something work? Are you looking at things the right way? Is this cup actually what it is that you want? Is this cohesive? Does this actually make sense? Can you get the ball rolling on this dynamic, or does it need to close because of this blood that was drawn? And we've got nostalgia here. So this is what leads me to believe the blood feels present, but it doesn't necessarily feel present as in a dynamic will find you where blood is drawn. So for some of you, that may be the case. And for others of you, it's a how do you say? I want to say rekindling for some reason, but it's a renewal, or I guess a memory or reminder, or somebody's coming back, or something's coming back that brought you this feeling in the past. And it's finding you in the present moment. It's leaving you concerned, worried, because we've got this good energy where it's like on one hand, nostalgia and missing and loving and giving and receiving on this equal level, but it's this Five of Swords, loud and clear, saying, but we've got deception, we've got stabbed in the back, we've got this fight, we've got this blood, and it's still sitting in my cough, In your shadow spaces, in your healing spaces, we've got releasing allegiances, bringing it to form, and defend to the end the worth. Wow. So it goes back into this space of here you are letting go and yet and still creating. So it's who stays and who goes, basically. What stays and what goes, but I want to say who. So I'm going to ground this in who stays and who goes. And I know you're a big collective, but it feels like who. And what it is that you're disconnecting from is something that clearly wounded you in the past, something that hurt quite extensively, something that has been brought up, or like, I don't know why I don't have the proper word, but has re-entered into your life and has brought this bloody feeling back, and you're disconnecting from that, or you need to disconnect from that. Defend to the end the worthwhile, as in defend to the end what it is that you actually value, what actually serves you, and bring it into form, bring it into reality. Disconnect from what doesn't and move forward with what does. Because this wound is heavy and it's intense, and yet and still we have this nostalgia, wanting to make new memories, and this unconditional giving and receiving. And your wisdom, your newfound wisdom, has you in a space where it's it's very clear on what it is that you will and will not do when it comes to these connections or these dynamics that you want to have. And you are dealing with a lot of fear because of this blood in your throat. And it's like, I do not want to make the wrong decision, you know? And it's that feeling and how it progresses you forward in this movement with the self, and how it's like stirring inside of you. I just keep feeling this feeling internally where it stirs, you know? It just keeps stirring. And it's creating a currency in that case in terms of you being able to still move forward. It's not like you're held back here. You're definitely not held back during this eclipse at all. There is nothing that's stalling you. It's more like you just will not, whatever this is the driving force behind what you do here. So let's go into your healing points. Okay, so this is an air card for me. You've got your inner spiritual power can heal circumstances in your life and our world in greater ways than you realize. Journey within to gain clarity and conscious redirection of your inner energies toward that which you wish to manifest. Do not try to control what is happening. Instead, work to bring positive influence to bear so that you can contribute constructively towards shaping the outcome for the greatest good. Which I think is quite interesting because it's bringing it back to this space where we've got the Hermit. So there aren't any swords being wielded here. Obviously, this is what's going on, you know? So instead of responding or reacting where you're bringing out this big hammer and crashing something down, it's more like going within yourself and using what's intuitively inside of you in order to bring forth the conclusion. I don't want to say conclusion. The conclusion or the future that you're looking for the most. If you notice, both of these are making the same space. Same face, same space. Usually retrogrades don't affect me, but my communication has been really, that's interesting. But anyway, so we've got one looking up into the other. Fire looking into air. So I think it's interesting how we sit here and it's all about taking what's within and bringing it without. Using that fortitude in order to bring forth a beginning instead of fighting whatever's around you. It's using your internal dynamic light within yourself in order to bring into form what it is that actually matters the most. So at the bottom, we've got your heart knows how to let go so you can find peace. Yeah. It is time for you to experience spiritual closure. A beautiful new reality is, this is very powerful to get during this eclipse. And it's great that this is the eclipse reading and this card came to find us because, again, the fire looking into air in that respect, this card is all about letting go and a new reality forming. And this one is all about understanding as you know this new reality is forming, as you are letting go and you're not attached to whatever this blood is in your throat that found you. You're deciding to use your internal light in order to create the new beginning that you want, to bring this energy into form and to disconnect from that and bring forth what it is that you actually value, which is extremely powerful and very much in alignment with what it is that we need to be doing or where it is that things need to be. It is time for you to experience spiritual closure. A new beautiful reality is opening up for you. Entering it requires you to release your attachment to the past. Yeah. Past. We've got this photograph here and this going back with the 5 of swords and stabbed in the back. It feels so thick, you know, the blood feels very thick, but it also feels like something that once was resurfacing to find you in the moment for you to push beyond it. But it's definitely an old scar that's reopening itself. You have been inwardly preparing for a powerful rebirth. Now is the time to trust in what is meant for you and move toward it with an open, trusting heart and peaceful mind. Yeah. That is just extremely powerful to get during this time because that's everything that you need to be embodying. As well as the light, you know, it's like understanding that this new powerful beginning is opening up for you. You're defending it to the end, and you're bringing it into form by all means necessary. Letting go of whatever it is that has found you, or whoever it is that is finding you again, that is reopening unnecessary wounds. It's just disconnection, disconnection. For others of you, you can find that someone, and if it's not the past, you can find that someone who once was of your past, like for example, if you held on to a connection or a friendship or a relationship or something along those lines, it's an awareness of how this person is stabbing you in the back, and it's awareness of how this person is deceiving you, and you deciding to then cut the cord and move it forward. Because there are these positive things happening on because of your wisdom, your introspection. You're not fearful of being in your own aloneness, for sure. And you've been sitting in this space and you're feeling very wise and aware during this time, during the eclipse, but you're also feeling social. We've got this perspective where it's like wise and introspective and alone in that sense, almost like enjoying your isolation, but then in the same right, like using it to connect to others, but connecting in the right way, so that you can release this fear going on in your shadow of something not working the way that you want it to work, things not working out the way that you want them to work, and fear that this cup will not find you. And a lack of clarity will create results that you're not looking for. They're the results that you're fearful of. There's a lot of beautiful energy going on in terms of giving and receiving. So this feels like, again, as this old scab comes up and this blood finds you again in your throat, it's not to say that it's something that you cannot handle, because it doesn't feel so heavy in that respect. Even though it is there, it doesn't. It's more like something that, okay, here we are. I see this. I see what's going on here, and I'm going to disconnect. Disconnect, put all of my power and my energy into what it is that I truly want, and I'm going to bring it into reality. Because these are the bases here. There isn't anything actually to fight here. It's just a matter of turning your back on it and letting it go, because it's not worth it. Whomever it is not going to rip out whatever it is that they're trying to take. It's just an old scab. And this could come, like I said, in the form of realizing someone who you've had in your life for a long time is deceiving you. For others of you, it could be a return of an old deception. And otherwise than that, it can just be these subconscious thoughts of when you've had to be in this space, when you were deceived and stabbed in the back. And that being on your mind as you're sitting in this introspective space, wanting to reconnect and wanting to open yourself to others and make new memories. You've got the past on your mind in terms of when you did not receive this equal give and take, and you don't want to be in a place where you have to fight anymore. And that's a part of the fears that you're having when it comes to that. You don't want to go down that road again. And so if it is this subconscious thing in terms of what is running through your head and these fears, then again, allow yourself to disconnect from what no longer serves you. Understand that you're in a new beginning, and you need to defend to the end worthwhile what it is that you actually value in the new, because the old is simply just that, the old. It does not exist anymore. It's another thing that I mentioned in the monthly email. It comes up again, this idea of what is the past versus what is the now. Not even the future, the now. And it's about understanding this introspection. And as you sit in your wisdom, and the question is, are your eyes actually open in the way that they should be? Are you being too critical? Does this Aries energy have you in a space where, as you're going through personality shifting and self-nurturing, are you finding yourself too hard on yourself because of the Mercury retrograde? That energy that has you overthinking in these matters, right? Because a retrograde comes in, and with it being in Mercury, it's about your thoughts, your communication, but also the way in which you value yourself and your own intellect. Are you over-criticizing? Are you overthinking? Are you over-analyzing your own steps where you're causing your own blockages and insecurities, and that's a part of what's keeping you bounded? Overall, it's stepping out of this, whether it comes in the form of actual people or whether it comes in the form of just your own blockages within your own mind. Disconnect from it. Release it. You don't have anything to fear here. You're just moving toward the actual new beginning and putting to bed the old, which is very progressive, triumphant, and forward moving. So yeah, so this is what I have for you guys. I love you. Ciao.